Well, everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new thriller Take the Night. And this is from writer, director, and star Seth McTigue about two brothers who run a company, and they're played by Huang and Sam Lee. And one of them is the beloved child of a now deceased father, and the other one is kind of like the mess up. And the mess up is like, how do I want to celebrate my brother's birthday? Let's pretend kidnap him and throw him a surprise party. And instead, when he hires this group to do the fake kidnapping, they're career criminals led by Seth McTigue, who plays Chad, and his crew, who take this as an opportunity to do some actual thieving. And it gets deeply personal when they kidnap this brother Robert and steal some very personal things from him. And in the course of this is just an 80-minute film, there's way too much going on here, because it's like you have this, and I do want to appreciate the film for trying to add some depth here, because you have this brother relationship, there's tension here, and you can feel that. It adds some depth. Then you have this group of criminals, and you can tell Chad wants to get out of this. So you have that level going on where this is his last job, yada, yada, yada. We've seen that before, but at least there's something to latch onto. Without getting into it, this film goes into some completely other different directions. And they set up some characters specifically earlier on that come back, where it's just like, whoa, wait a minute. For an 80-minute film, this is going a step too far in terms of trying to set up this layer upon layer upon layer upon layer that doesn't feel like it's fleshed out or really earned. And it's just like, here's a twist for the sake of having a twist, or here's an added layer because we wanted to make this deeper and more complex, but it just comes off more convoluted and a bit anticlimactic, because it's like, for all this setup to happen and then for things to start happening, things happen very quickly and get resolved very quickly. And you're just like, where are we supposed to be at now? And I don't feel like this film had enough time to breathe and really flesh out its second and third act. It does a lot of setup in that first act, and I feel like nothing really of consequence, like action-wise, really happens till the 45-minute mark, which is almost halfway through the film. And at that point, everything else past that feels rushed or thrown in and doesn't feel like it gets a chance to breathe. And if it wasn't for some of that setup that makes these characters a little bit more easily connected to the audience, I feel like this film would have just been like zip, 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 zip. And you're just like, well, that was the thing. I watched it. I don't know what I got out of it. This has a little bit more than that, but I still feel like this is half-baked, undercooked, and eventually just going to be pretty forgettable. And that's a shame, because I do feel like this film had some elements. It's generally well directed, generally well acted. It just has some of those elements that felt like they could have gotten more tender loving care, or felt like they could have been fleshed out a little bit more, let to breathe a little bit more. And when it really came down to the end, didn't really need, there was enough in this film to not need that added little thing, but you can tell why it was there thematically. And it's just like, I feel like they could have just fleshed out a little bit more other places to still hit that impact and not have to make this film feel more convoluted than it has to be. But in the end, those are my thoughts on Take the Night. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.